Today we're making boxing reflex balls to improve your hand-eye coordination. And not just one, but two different versions. Both under $1. Interested? Here we go. There's a lot of little things for this build, but it's not very complicated at all. You're gonna need a hat, something that has the Velcro closure on the back. This is what it's gonna look like when it's done. The options for this D-ring are quite a few. You can use galvanized steel, 16 gauge, 18 gauge. But if you don't wanna go out and buy that, you can use one of these black clips. I use this for all sorts of builds, and it's fairly bendable. Everybody's probably got these lying around somewhere. Paper clips will probably work too. I'm gonna go with 18 gauge wire. I'm gonna show you two versions. One using this 1/8 inch soft stretch elastic and one with this round cord elastic. Both of these you can find in almost any craft store for around $1. This is just a flat long needle. So these are relatively inexpensive, a couple bucks. You can find those in any sewing section of most stores. On these hats, the way I've made the design is you can just unvelcro it and then just put it in the center and put it right back. You go work out wherever it is, you use the D-ring, take it out of your bag, put it in place, put it in, and you're ready to go. Simple, easy, very inexpensive. Let me show you some tricks here. This one we've been batting around for weeks now, and it's doing great. And it's just this round cord. I have seen other ones with this setup, so I'm going to try that one out and see. But I made this so it's adjustable. And then I have a little piece of scrap plastic pipe so the elastic band doesn't go through it. Just made a little groove here, cut out, and then I can just push that in there. Otherwise, this flops around a little bit. You can also adjust it here on this end with the hat. And then once you get to the level that you want, you can trim this off and go all the way down to here, and you'll be fine and won't go through. If you're like us and you've got kids, 11, 12 years old, all the way up to adults, you may want to have the ability to make it adjustable. Just take it off and everybody puts it on their own hat. As far as balls go, you want something that's a little soft. Here's one that's a little stress ball, and that would work good. I have this as an option because you're going to be punching it. I started out with this ball. You can see the size of the one what we're practicing with now. It's a little smaller and a little harder. And you can get these balls in almost every dollar store, and this is a little more spongy. I wouldn't want to call it a Nerf ball because it's a little more denser than that. This is perfect. You can do this without gloves. I'm using the tennis ball from my tennis rebounder. I'll post the link down below so you can see how you can make this, and I'll actually put in the time where I show this. And so I'm going to use this with the thicker because I've seen professional boxers use a variation of this. So I'm going to give you a couple options. But with this one, it's a little harder, and depending on the rebound, you may want to use gloves. The advantage of these bigger balls between a 3.5 and 4 inch diameter is that they're a bigger target to hit. When you get down to this ball, which is around 2 3/4 inches, it's a little smaller target. It takes a little practice because you're trying to track the ball and it's bouncing on this elastic cord. Once you have all your supplies, then it's time for the build. The first step is to run the needle through it like this. If you don't have a needle, you can start out with wire, straighten it out real good, and then run that through the ball. You're gonna have to run it through a couple times. It's gonna fight you a little bit. You wanna do it as straight as possible. And then run it back and forth, spin the ball, and that will give you a channel. Put your elastic in and it won't fight you so much. You wanna give it a little bit of a tail, just enough to get it through the ball. And use a pair of pliers. Then you just tie it off. But this is just a little piece of plastic. We tried metal rings and they actually hit them with your fist sometimes. And then you just put a bunch of knots. Now let's go to the D-ring. You want to gauge the D-ring by the thickness of the hat you're using. This is fairly standard. They're all about the same, right around 3/4 of an inch. So you take a piece of wire, flip it off, just kind of shape it into a D. Here I'm just using some 1/2 inch piping, and I'm just going to use that to help form the circle. All right, so then you just bend it over, form a D. Okay, so this D-ring's a little smaller, so I'm going to open it up a little bit. We're going to have a quick fit check, see if it's going to work. Yep. So this 18 gauge probably worked just fine. You can see where it kind of moves around freely. That's an ideal case. The D-ring is not going to damage your hat. So all you do is you take the wire cutters, try to get in the middle, and just squeeze the pliers because you got... The other factor is you want to kind of have it as flat as possible. If you have to schwack it a couple times with a hammer, that's probably not a bad idea. So we're going to do the thicker tennis ball version on this one. Find the end. How do you tie it off? A bunch of overhand knots. And again, I'm going to leave it a bit of a tail so that I can adjust it. To install the D-ring, I've tied it off a bunch of times. It's going to stay fine. And put the hat on, and this length here is 29 inches for me with a little bit of tail tied off onto the ball. And then I have a bunch of extra cord that I'm going to slide in the hat, put on my head to get to the point where I know exactly how long. The last thing you want to do is cut cord that's too short. I'll post below my other video where you can make this ball. This is just a cable tie, run through, 2 holes in the tennis ball. I'll put actually where it is in the video. So if you don't want to watch the whole video for some reason, I'll get you right there. I'm going to tie this off. This is twice as thick, so it's going to bounce differently. This seems a little more elastic. And you can see I just put a bunch of knots in there. In a matter of minutes, I have 2 hat combinations. Now we're going to go and test them out. Okay, so the first one I'm going to demonstrate is the red ball. Just get a regular fist. Here's a side view. Takes a little getting used to, but it's really good for hand-eye coordination. So you can see where it is. It's right around waist level. I found that's the perfect distance for me. So this has got a nice springy action to it. The red ball is easy to see, and it is a good workout. Okay, here I'll demonstrate the tennis ball version. This is the 1/8 inch elastic cord. It's a little more springy, and I have it just about the same way, waist high when I'm looking straight forward. I'll stand over here because this really kind of bounces back. I saw some professional boxers working out with a rig just like this one. Bob and weave. Now it's a smaller ball. I found the best way to do this is to start out low and then move the ball up. Again, both of these, if you're going to make them in quantities, are about $1 a piece. The supplies are a little bit more for one build, but if you're going to commit, you might as well build a bunch of them for your friends and family, because they are addictive. They're certainly portable enough. As long as you have the hat, you can take this anywhere. The gloves are really optional. And once you get better, you can move around in a circle. If you didn't like how far this one goes out, you certainly could shorten the cord up, but I found that you really want to get the full movement of the arms to really get the full effect. You don't want to shortchange yourself that way. This really is a great workout tool. So you have this one and this one. Which do I prefer? The kids like this one better because of the bigger ball and it's softer. You don't have to wear the gloves. I think they're both good and they both give you a workout. It's just a little different. Thumbs up and comments always appreciated. Thanks for watching. And stay tuned for more boxing builds, sports builds, and all sorts of crazy builds I have planned. Coming soon.